Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather recently shared the ring for what was supposed to be a routine sparring session. As Crawford prepares for a potential clash with Canelo Alvarez, he turned to Mayweather for some high-level training. The undefeated legend, known for his flawless defense and perfect 50-0 record, was quick to accept the challenge. However, what happened next grabbed everyone's attention. Crawford's sharpness was undeniable, proving that even all-time greats like Mayweather can't stay untouchable forever.
Breathe, but I cannot put Crawford. Crawford is is his own category, and I would never put him in a box or category with Floyd because he's that different. And then Crawford has moments where he will go toe-to-toe with you versus Floyd would never do.
From the start, Mayweather relied on the style that made him a legend. His footwork was crisp, his head movement sharp, and his counters landed with pinpoint accuracy. Even at 47, his ability to read an opponent was still top tier. But Crawford wasn't intimidated. As a 4-division world champion with 31 knockouts and an unbeaten 41-0 record, he had no intention of holding back, even against one of the best to ever do it. The session began with both fighters testing each other's timing. Mayweather's experience showed as he slipped Crawford's punches by mere inches, using his angles to avoid heavy shots. But Crawford stayed composed. He kept pressing forward, switching stances, and adjusting his rhythm to find openings. Then came the moment that stunned everyone in the gym. In the middle of a heated exchange, Crawford spotted an opportunity and reacted instantly. He fired a perfectly timed right hook that slipped past Mayweather's guard and landed clean on his chin. For a split second, Mayweather's legs wobbled, a subtle but clear reaction that left onlookers in disbelief.
Eso. Eso, venga. 5, venga. 1, 2, 3, 4. Eso. Enjoy.
Crawford didn't press forward. This was just a sparring session. But the moment still spoke volumes. Mayweather quickly steadied himself and continued as if nothing had happened. Still, everyone in the gym knew they had just witnessed something rare. The defensive genius, who built his career on avoiding shots like that, had been caught in a way few had ever seen, even in his prime. Afterward, Crawford's trainer, Brian "Bomac" McIntyre, reflected on the session with pride. "That's what makes Terence different," he said. "He's got that fire, that drive. Even in sparring, he finds a way to take control. That's the difference between a good fighter and a great one."
About going for 51-0, beat Mayweather's record with 50-0. Is that something that you thought about?
I already said I wasn't never gonna beat Mayweather record. That's not something that I wanted to do.
Okay.
Mayweather, ever the professional, took the shot in stride. His prime may be behind him, but his ring IQ and ability to adapt remains second to none. For him, stepping in with Crawford wasn't about proving anything. It was about staying connected to the sport he dominated for years. Crawford's showing only intensified the comparisons between the two. Now a 4-division champion and one of just 3 fighters in the 4-belt era to become undisputed in 2 weight classes, his name is increasingly mentioned alongside Mayweather's. Sparring with Floyd, even as he nears 50, was yet another chance for Crawford to measure himself against one of boxing's all-time greats.
All the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. You know, so let's not do that.
Crawford has never shied away from a challenge, whether it's dominating his opponents or moving up in weight to prove himself. Sparring with Mayweather only strengthened his confidence as one of the most well-rounded fighters of his era. His skills were on full display, and the fact that he landed clean on a defensive mastermind like Mayweather, even for a split second, was proof of how much he has evolved. Mayweather's legacy remains untouchable. At his peak, he was nearly impossible to hit, dismantling everyone from Canelo Alvarez to Manny Pacquiao with ease. While his reflexes may not be as sharp as they once were, his influence on the sport and status as one of the greatest ever are unquestionable. For Crawford, Stepping into the ring with Mayweather wasn't just about learning from a legend. It was also a moment to prove that he belongs among boxing's elite.
He went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. You know, so let's not do that.
The session ended with mutual respect. Mayweather's poise and willingness to trade shots with Crawford showed his confidence, even as age starts to play a factor. Crawford, on the other hand, walked away more determined than ever, knowing the challenges that lie ahead, especially with a potential showdown against Canelo Alvarez. Moments like these define careers. For Crawford, landing that right hook wasn't just about the punch. It was about stepping in with a legend and proving he belongs in the same conversation. For Mayweather, it was a reminder that while his speed may decline, his legacy as one of the sharpest minds in boxing remains untouchable.
You know, being that you obviously, again, a pillar in Team Crawford, can you confirm? Are we going to see that fight? Has it been made official? Is it official?
It's on, baby. September 13, baby. Look forward to it. Crawford versus Canelo.
Who heard it?
Listen how I said it.
Hey, are we getting this
Crawford
confirmation
versus
here
Canelo.
first?
You understand? Yeah, it's confirmed. Man, what?
Say less.
Crawford versus Canelo, not the other way around.
Boxing fans have been in a frenzy ever since rumors surfaced about a possible 2025 showdown between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez. While nothing has been officially confirmed, just the idea of this matchup has already sent shockwaves through the sport. Crawford, coming off a career-defining win over Errol Spence Jr., is at his absolute peak. Meanwhile, Canelo Alvarez remains the biggest name in boxing, commanding attention every time he fights. Though this potential clash is still just speculation, it has already ignited intense debates among fans and experts alike.
See, he wants to fight. He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. No, Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but you know, like I say, he's weight classes for a reason. I'm focused 100%.
One of the loudest voices in the debate is Showbiz the Adult, who didn't hold back when questioning Crawford's chances. He drew comparisons to Floyd Mayweather, who dominated Canelo in 2013, arguing that Crawford falls short in key areas like defense, ring IQ, and in-fight adjustments. Let's not forget what Floyd did to Canelo, Showbiz said. That wasn't just a win, it was a masterclass. Crawford doesn't have that kind of fight in him. However, not everyone agrees. Many fans believe Showbiz is underestimating Crawford, especially after his recent sparring session, where he managed to outmaneuver Mayweather.
The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, you know, his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But you know, Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
Yes, it was just sparring, and many details are still unclear. But insiders hint that Crawford got the better of the undefeated legend. If true, this would be a major accomplishment, especially considering Mayweather's legendary defensive skills. Showbiz says Crawford isn't Mayweather, but Crawford just schooled Floyd in sparring. What does that tell you? One fan tweeted, "Crawford is the real deal, and Canelo better watch out." While sparring isn't the same as an actual fight, it's hard to overlook how much this boosts Crawford's credibility.
Once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know. So I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later. And
If Crawford can outthink and outmaneuver someone like Mayweather, he might just have the tools to challenge Canelo. However, Showbiz stood by his criticism, arguing that sparring doesn't truly show how a fighter will perform under the pressure of a real fight. "Look, sparring is controlled," he said. "It's not 12 rounds with millions watching, with belts and legacies on the line." Crawford might have had a good day in the gym, but that doesn't mean he can handle Canelo's power at 168 pounds. And this is where the debate takes a controversial turn. Many fans believe Crawford's move up in weight to face Canelo is both unrealistic and potentially dangerous. Canelo has ruled middleweight and super middleweight for years, consistently taking on larger opponents. His power in these divisions is well known, with many of his rivals struggling to withstand his strength, especially as he's moved up in weight. In contrast, Crawford only recently moved up to junior middleweight and hasn't yet faced the top fighters in that division. Critics argue that while Crawford's speed and sharpness are his biggest strengths, those qualities could be compromised by the added weight. You can't just bulk up and expect your skills to stay the same, Showbiz said. Crawford's going into the lion's den, and Canelo's the king of that jungle.
It's gonna come down to 160.
Yeah,
Canelo ain't gonna come down, maybe 166 max if he accepts.
Yeah.
I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size, power and size. Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better skill fighter.
The concern is valid. Weight can affect a fighter's agility, conditioning, and timing, making it a risky move for Crawford to face someone as powerful as Canelo at super middleweight. However, not everyone agrees with this view. Hall of Fame trainer Teddy Atlas offered a different take, suggesting that Crawford's technical brilliance might actually neutralize Canelo's size advantage. Crawford is special, Atlas said on his podcast. He's got the footwork, the IQ, and the ability to switch stances mid-fight. Canelo hasn't faced anyone like that in years. If Crawford stays disciplined, he can give Canelo real problems. But what about the mental side of the fight?
At the end of the day, I don't want to have credit to face Crawford. But you never know. You never know in boxing. I'll go up and down and fight everybody out there. So it's possible. Why not? It's possible.
Critics of Terence Crawford argue that he hasn't faced an opponent with the skill and experience of Canelo Alvarez. While Crawford has been dominant in his career, with impressive victories over fighters like Errol Spence, Amir Khan, and David Avanesian, his resume doesn't match Canelo's list of top-tier opponents, such as Gennady Golovkin, Sergey Kovalev, and Caleb Plant. These are the kinds of fighters who've tested Canelo in ways Crawford hasn't yet encountered. This difference in experience is why many analysts lean toward Canelo in a potential showdown. However, some believe Crawford's ability to adapt during a fight could give him the edge. Timothy Bradley, a former world champion, thinks Crawford has what it takes to expose Canelo's weaknesses. He pointed out that Canelo's footwork has slowed down, and Crawford could exploit that. Bradley confidently states, if they fight, Crawford wins on points. The business side of the fight also presents complications. Canelo is tied to a major contract with DAZN, while Crawford isn't locked to any promoter, giving him more flexibility. Still, both fighters are cautious about their legacies, making some wonder if this fight will ever happen. One boxing journalist commented, "It's one thing to talk about it, but signing the contract is another. Both guys have a lot to lose, and that's what makes this fight so interesting." The public's opinion adds even more pressure. If Crawford defeats Canelo, it could shake Canelo's position as one of the best of his generation. But if Crawford struggles after moving up in weight, critics will say he bit off more than he could chew. This only heightens the excitement, with both fighters' legacies hanging in the balance. For now, Crawford and Canelo have stayed quiet, leaving fans to speculate. But the boxing world is buzzing with anticipation, imagining what could unfold. This isn't just any fight. It's a clash of styles, eras, and legacies.
Said that he moved up and won, and Canelo moved up and lost.
They talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won.
I don't think that was a strong point because Canelo Alvarez actually moved up and won. I mean, he moved up a lot of weight classes, but if you want...
Terence Crawford is confident he can pull off a huge upset against Canelo Alvarez. Reports indicate that the two boxing stars are finalizing a deal for a fight on Mexican Independence Day weekend in Las Vegas, with Crawford moving up 2 weight classes to face Canelo at super middleweight. ESPN's Mike Coppinger confirms that the fight will go ahead without a rehydration clause, despite the obvious size difference. Crawford, who just recently moved up to super welterweight, will be facing a much larger Canelo, who has fought as high as light heavyweight. Crawford's trainer, Brian "Bomac" McIntyre, believes Crawford can win and emphasized that they didn't want any weight restrictions. Crawford, known as one of the best in boxing today, remains undefeated in 41 professional fights and has proven himself to be a generational talent. He's one of only 3 fighters in the 4-belt era to become a 2-weight undisputed champion, joining Alexander Usyk and Naoya Inoue. If anyone can defy the odds, it's Crawford, whose elite ring IQ and adaptability make him a dangerous opponent. Crawford himself is confident in his skills. He explained that he studies his opponents and adjusts his strategy accordingly, viewing his ability to figure out any fighter as his greatest strength. People might say you're too small or outmatched, but that's when great fighters perform their best, Crawford said. He's eager to prove his doubters wrong, just as he's done throughout his career. Despite the challenge of moving up 2 weight classes, he isn't concerned about the size difference and believes he'll feel great at 168 pounds. Canelo, however, is a formidable opponent at super middleweight. His power is unmatched in the division, and his ability to break down opponents with body shots is legendary. But Crawford isn't intimidated. He's not just a slick boxer. He's known for his adaptability and intelligence in the ring. His speed, footwork, and boxing IQ make him one of the toughest fighters to figure out. This fight with Canelo will be a massive challenge, but Crawford is ready to face it head-on.
Gave Canelo the opportunity, not vice versa.
No.
Bud came with the bag.
It's not.
Bud
It's
came
not.
with the bag, nigga.
You can't say that because
Bud came,
yes, you
Bud
can.
came with the
Man,
came
y'all-
with the bag, nigga. The reason
Again,
that the
they've
fight
been
happened
asking
there.
for Canelo, bro. Y'all-
Canelo wasn't
They're asking for
fucking with
Canelo Benavidez. Canelo ain't taking.
While Canelo is the favorite in this matchup, many believe Crawford's sharp mind and adaptability give him a real shot at pulling off an upset. Crawford has never shied away from a challenge, consistently proving his ability to dominate across multiple weight classes. His recent win over Errol Spence Jr. is still fresh in the minds of boxing fans, and now he's looking to achieve the same success against one of the sport's biggest names. However, some fans argue that Canelo's size advantage could be too much for Crawford to overcome. It's hard to ignore that Canelo has fought as high as 175 pounds, and even though he's coming down to 168 pounds for this fight, he will still be much larger than Crawford. There are concerns that Crawford might struggle in the clinches or find it difficult to land his shots against Canelo's powerful punches.
Canelo, I think that's weird, because you'd have to gain 20 pounds.
Yeah.
But they say that's the money fight. That's the mega fight. That's the money fight. That's the only thing that makes sense for Terence Crawford.
Well, catch weight. We can do something at a catch weight.
What weight you think?
Probably 160.
Crawford has always welcomed a challenge, and even though he's not the biggest fighter in the ring, he consistently outclasses his opponents. His skill set, managing distance, using his jab effectively, and mixing in well-timed counterpunches, makes him a dangerous competitor, no matter how much bigger his opponent may be. While the odds are stacked against him in this fight, if anyone can defy expectations, it's Crawford. Crawford's trainer, Brian "Bomac" McIntyre, believes that Crawford's ability to outthink Canelo will give him an edge. With the fight scheduled for Mexican Independence Day weekend, there's no bigger stage for Crawford to prove that he belongs among the greatest fighters of all time. People have doubted his size, but it's clear he's never let that dictate his path. His impressive record speaks for itself, and defeating Canelo at super middleweight would be a monumental achievement, cementing his place as one of the best of his generation. Can Crawford achieve the impossible? History shows that he's the kind of fighter who thrives when the stakes are highest. His confidence is unwavering. He understands the challenge, but he's been in situations where everyone counted him out, only for him to come out on top. That's the mentality of a true champion. No fear, no excuses, just an unyielding drive for victory. When the fight finally happens, all eyes will be on Las Vegas. Can Crawford defy the odds, overcome the significant size disadvantage, and dethrone Canelo as the super middleweight king? Or will Canelo once again prove his dominance, silencing any remaining doubts about his power and skill? No matter the outcome, this will be a fight to remember for years to come. Terence Crawford is ready to prove that he belongs among the all-time greats, regardless of the critics. What do you think about the fight? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. See you in the next one.